Hey everybody, HomeSliceHenry here, and in today's video we're going to be checking out some incredibly spicy battles in the Open Master League featuring a level 51 SHUNDO Poltergeist Chandelure. These battles were submitted to the channel by a member of the community, so many thanks for the battle submission. Now Poltergeist is of course Chandelure's Calm Day move. It is a very expensive move to get to, but in return, if you can land it, it deals absolutely devastating damage. So without further ado, let's hop into the matches and check out SHUNDO Chandelure in action in the Master League. Hopping to the first match, picking up a terrible lead Dragonite into Florges, we see an immediate save switch into Ursaluna. In the Master Premier format, Ursaluna does prove to be an incredibly powerful save switch due to its absolutely massive bulk. It can tank a Moonblast and wasn't even quite in the yellow yet. Ursaluna farming up, going for high horsepower, and we do see a shield from the Florges. Florges continuing to farm. This isn't time for the Ursaluna. Ursaluna is going to let that through. It's just a disarming voice, and the opponent, not wanting to take any chances, is going to go for disarming voice number 2. That is going to land. In comes the Chandelure. Chandelure, of course, is going to be resisting both moves from the Florges here, but Chandelure, not the tankiest. Disarming voice is going to land. Chandelure looking for the farm down Florges with a fraction of HP remaining, able to reach one final disarming voice and grab a shield from the Chandelure. In comes Garchomp, aggressive pivot into Dragonite, and the final Pokemon is revealed to be Metagross. Dragonite, thankfully, is running superpower, will be able to hit for some heavy neutral damage onto the Metagross. Metagross is going to fire off a Meteor Mash, and we see the no shield from the Dragonite, putting full faith into the Chandelure. Chandelure going to not charge the Flame Charge at all, just looking for the boost, able to get the farm down. Opponent going to send back in the Garchomp. No baits here, going straight for the Poltergeist. Do they respect it? They do not! Chandelure takes down a ground type, and that is a good game. Moving into the next match, leading Dragonite into Gyarados. This matchup is heavily dependent on what fast move the Gyarados is running, and they're running Waterfall, which is really good for Dragonite. But the fact that they're staying in here means odds are they are probably running Outrage. Dragonite doesn't really want to tank an Outrage. Gyarados able to make it to the potential Outrage. Decision time for the Dragonite. Last second shield, and it's the Outrage that proves to be a big shield. Aggressive switch into Ursaluna, and Ursaluna is able to get the farm down. We'll have to see what the opponent is going to decide to bring in here. They bring in Togekiss, which by no means is a counter to Ursaluna, as Ursaluna does have access to Thunder Punch, and this will put a lot of pressure on the Togekiss. Thunder Punch number 1 able to land already at Thunder Punch number 2, and now Togekiss is going to be forced to give up a shield. Ursaluna continuing to farm. These tackles putting in quite a bit of damage here. They fire off the Ancient Power, that's resisted. Thankfully, they do not get the boost as they get the farm down, but now it's Chandelure's time. Chandelure gets the farm down. We'll have to see in the back. They have Metagross, and Metagross is about to get flame cooked by Chandelure. Flame Charge lands. Chandelure gets the farm down, and the win. Decent lead in the next match, Dragonite into Garchomp. Regardless of fast move, Dragonite can always force a shield in this matchup. That's exactly what Dragonite is going to do, firing off the Dragon Claw into the Garchomp. Dragon Claw is going to get the shield. Garchomp continuing to farm up here, and Garchomp, not throwing a charge move, is going to be forced to commit both shields in this matchup. And now in comes Ursaluna. Ursaluna is very tanky, so we see the no shield here. Opponent baits with a Sand Tomb. Oh my goodness. They're able to reach a last second charge move. Again, we see the no shield from the Ursaluna. It's the Outrage. Ursaluna on 1 HP, able to survive, and now it's all up to Chandelure. Can Chandelure clutch this here? Opponent, oh no, they send in a Mamoswine. They very clearly have a Steel type in the back, and they are about to get swept by Chandelure. Chandelure going for the Flame Charge, going for the Undercharge here, wanting to leave with some energy from the Mamoswine. That's a perfect Undercharge. Opponent sees the writing on the wall and concedes the match. We've got another Gyarados lead in the next match, but this one is running Dragon Breath. This does make this matchup a lot more tricky for Dragonite, but Dragonite still does have a lot of play here. Dragonite is going to fire off the Dragon Claw. That's going to connect onto the Gyarados. Gyarados going to return fire with the Crunch. Crunch only going to hit for neutral, and thankfully no defense drop. Dragonite able to reach the last second Dragon Claw, and either guarantee switch advantage or shield advantage. Opponent lets it go. We see an aggressive switch into the Ursaluna, And in the back, the opponent has a Machamp. So things are looking incredibly good for a Chandelure sweep. At this point, you kind of just save shields for the Chandelure, and Chandelure should be able to handle that Machamp and Excadrill. Machamp commits one shield on very low HP. Ursaluna able to reach Thunder Punch number 2. That is going to be no shielded by the opponent. And now it is Chandelure time. Opponent going to fire off a charge move. You kind of have to shield here, but you should get enough of an energy lead that the opponent is not going to be able to KO with the Excadrill. In comes the Excadrill. Chandelure going for the Flame Charge, looking to buff up this Incinerate damage more and more. Chandelure continuing to farm. Opponent fires off a Drill Run, but it's just too little, too late. Drill Run gets shielded. Chandelure, Flame Charge, KOs the Excadrill and secures the victory. Bit of a tricky lead in the next match. Dragonite going up against Magnezone. Does have 2 better responses in the back, so we see an immediate switch into Ursaluna, and Ursaluna is met with a Waterfall Gyarados. And oh boy, this opponent is going to have to give up so many shields here as Thunder Punch hits for double super effective damage. We see the immediate no shield from the Ursaluna. Ursaluna able to tank the Aqua Tail. Ursaluna makes it to the last second Thunder Punch and will be able to get both shields or switch. Opponent gives up both shields, and that is perfectly fine because now that the Waterfall Gyarados is out of the way, you just give 2 shields to Chandelure, and Chandelure should be able to finish off this game. Dragonite not quite able to get the farm down. Gyarados with a fraction of HP reaches a last second Aqua Tail. But now you leave with a superpower to threaten that Magnezone. Opponent, they're thinking about it. What are they going to send in? They send in a Snorlax, and this Snorlax is about to get absolutely shredded by superpower. Superpower is going to land, going for superpower number 2. Now, this is not quite going to KO, but it will get the Snorlax low. Aggressive switch into the Chandelure. Opponent sends in the Magnezone, and poor Magnezone, no shields remaining. Nothing they can do to save them from the wrath of Chandelure. Chandelure farms down the Snorlax, and that's game over. Moving into the next match, picking up a tough lead, Dragonite into Mamoswine. Mamoswine, of course, does have a lot of play against both the Dragonite and that Ursaluna. Dragonite farming up here, going for the Dragon Claw, and ends up winning CMP over the Mamoswine. This Dragon Claw is going to get no shielded by the opponent. Opponent calls that it's not a superpower, and the Avalanche is going to be no shielded. In comes Ursaluna, farming up some energy here. Switch, and a beautiful catch, catching the Avalanche onto the Chandelure where it is going to be resisted. Opponent now going to send in Gyarados, and they're running Dragon Tail. Opponent looking for the farm down. Chandelure makes it to the Poltergeist. Do they respect the damage? They do not, and Gyarados gets one shot. Opponent sends in Mamoswine. Mamoswine able to get the farm down. Ursaluna returns the favor with a farm down of its own. In the back, there is Metagross here. Farming up, baiting with a Thunder Punch. Oh, this could be risky. Opponent may need to call a bait here, and they do. Oh my goodness. And suddenly, this is looking potentially rough now that the opponent successfully called a bait. Meteor Mash will get the shield. Ursaluna baiting again, trying to grab these shields from the opponent. Thunder Punch gets no shielded again. Opponent refusing to shield, and it is honestly giving them a win con in this match. Meteor Mash gets the final shield. Ursaluna has to tackle down. It cannot. Opponent with a sliver of HP takes out the Ursaluna and gets the win. Moving into the next match, we've got yet another Gyarados lead. Opponent is going to save switch into Shadow Snorlax, and Snorlax is going to be met with the superpower from the Dragonite. This is not going to be a fun move to take. Opponent lets it through, and that does so much damage, and in comes the Ursaluna. Ursaluna will be able to absorb whatever they throw, even if it's a superpower that doesn't even do half, and Ursaluna gets the farm down. Opponent is running Waterfall Gyarados, but Waterfall Gyarados wants no part of dealing with an energy lead Ursaluna. Thunder Punch, big damage onto the Gyarados, and able to make it to Thunder Punch number 2. Is the opponent willing to shield? They are. They're trying to get rid of the Ursaluna, but they can't. They have Togekiss in the back. Hello, opponent. Goodbye, opponent. And that is a good game. Moving into the next match, picking up an incredibly good lead. Dragonite into Swampert, and even better, the Swampert is staying in this matchup. Swampert banks a Hydro, save switches into Machamp, and Machamp will be met with the Dragon Claw from Dragonite. Dragon Claw is going to land. In comes Chandelure. Chandelure farming up energy here. Machamp does have enough for the Rock Slide. We will see a shield from the Chandelure. Oh my goodness, it was a payback. That is a massive shield. Opponent not going to be able to reach payback number 2. This should only be a cross chop, so we will see a no shield from the Chandelure. Cross chop, of course, is double resisted. In comes the Swampert. Chandelure going for the Poltergeist here. Going for the one shot. Opponent respects the damage, and they actually commit a shield. A bit unfortunate. I wanted to see the Swampert get absolutely crushed. In comes Dragonite. They have Togekiss in the back, and Togekiss will be answered with the Ursaluna. And Ursaluna, as we've seen, can put in a lot of work in this matchup. Opponent hoping for an Ancient Power boost. Ancient Power not going to do a lot of damage and not going to save them as no boost is seen. And now Ursaluna can start unleashing these Thunder Punches. Thunder Punch number 1 gets him low, gets the farm down, and the opponent concedes the match. Hopping into the final match, leading Dragonite into Metagross. 2 better responses in the back, so we see an immediate save switch into Ursaluna, and the Ursaluna is able to bait out Dragonite. Honestly, not the greatest spot for Ursaluna to be in, but baiting out the Dragonite is big because Chandelure does not want to face this either. Ursaluna continuing to farm, making it to Thunder Punch number 2. Now this will not KO, but it will get the Dragonite into the red. Dragonite on very low HP, but they do have a ton of energy. At this point, you just let this go. Opponent goes for the superpower, try and KO with your own Dragonite, but the opponent with a fraction of HP, able to make it to a debuff Dragon Claw. The Dragonite is out of the way. Now you just hope for the Chandelure sweep. In comes the Metagross. Opponent sends in Chandelure in the back. It's an Ursaluna, and this game is winnable. Ursaluna is, of course, a ground type, but Tackle is double resisted thanks to the Ghost subtyping. Opponent no shields the first Flame Charge. They know the first one is going to be doing the least amount of damage, but even so, I don't think that's going to save them. Second Flame Charge gets the shield, but these Incinerates are now double boosted, and even though Ursaluna is tanky, it is going to start rapidly running out of HP. Chandelure continuing to farm. Ursaluna reaches one final move. It's a Thunder Punch. It will get shielded. Chandelure gets the farm down. Back in comes the Metagross, and Metagross is about to get torn to shreds. This Chandelure is extremely boosted. Metagross force a Fire Off energy to get rid of the Chandelure. But honestly, things might be looking a little grim now, as I don't think that Metagross is quite in superpower range. Dragonite going for the superpower, needing it to KO. Metagross able to hang on, make it to the last second Meteor Mash. Meteor Mash KOs the Dragonite, and that's game over. And now some final thoughts on level 51 Poltergeist Chandelure. I'll be honest, one of the reasons why I do really enjoy the Master Premier format, even though it is now level 50s, is the fact that Pokemon like Chandelure do have an opportunity to shine. It's definitely more of an off-meta pick, even in the Master Premier Cup, but going up against legendaries in the Master League, Chandelure unfortunately kind of gets crushed. But going up against the Premier meta, especially if you're able to bait out the Dragonite or the Gyarados, which the Ursaluna save switch is very effective at doing, then Chandelure can be an absolutely nasty sweeper. The combination of Incinerate and Flame Charge, continually ramping up the damage, and the absurd one-shot potential of Poltergeist makes this a tricky mon to use, but a very fun mon to use as well. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you're enjoying the content, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And a special thank you as always to our members here on YouTube. The support you guys provide is absolutely incredible. So thank you guys oh so very much. And until next time, I've been HomeSliceHenry.